Welcome to my algebra class. We're on chapter 11, section 1 and 2. We're going to be working with rational numbers, those numbers that can be written as fractions. So a rational number is a number that can be written in the form a over b, where a and b are both integers, and b does not equal 0. When we compare rational numbers, we can use cross products to decide if the first rational number is less than, greater than, or equal to the second. And if you remember how we did this, we took 1 times 11 is 11, and 8 times 4 is 32. Since 11 is less than 32, then 1/8 is less than 4/11. We're also going to be ordering rational numbers, putting them in numerical order from least to greatest. We could use cross products, we could rename them, or we could simply use the decimal form for them. I'm going to use the decimal form. This is 0.6 repeating. 1/2 is 0.5, and 3/4 is 0.75. So from least to greatest, 1/2 is the smallest, then 2/3, and then 3/4. And the next problem here, changing them all into decimal, 6.2. Negative 6.3 repeating, and this is negative 38.5. So the smallest is negative 77 halves. Then next would be negative 6.33. But we want to make sure we write the original problem fraction down, or what was given to us. So it's negative 6 1/3, then negative 6.2. We want to find a number a certain distance between two other numbers. We first find the total distance between them, multiply by the distance wanted, and add that amount to the smallest number. So if I want the distance halfway between 5/8 and 1/4, I'm going to change them so they have the same denominator. The distance between these, 2/8 from 5/8 is 3/8. I want the number halfway between, so I times by 1/2, which is 3/16, and I add it to the smallest number, which is 2/8. So 2/8 plus 3/16 is 4/16 will change it. So they have the same denominator. Be 4/16. 8 goes into 16 twice. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 3/16, which is 7/16. When you have halfway, another way to do it is have them so that they have the same denominator, and then keep enlarging them until you can see enough to get halfway. 3/8 is not exactly a half amount, so if I increase that, that's 10/16, and this is 4/16, and the distance is 6/16, and half of that is 3 added to the 4 makes the 7/16. That's just another way of doing it when you're looking for halfway. So we'll do half of these problems, then come back and do the second section. So turn your books to 510. We're doing 1 through 20. We're to replace the blank with less than, equal to, or greater than to make the statement true. So we have 11/15 is what compared to 2/3. We use our cross products. We get 33 compared to 30, and it's going to be greater than. Problem number 4, negative 7/8. Keep the negative sign with the numerator. And negative 5/6. Cross products, negative 42, negative 40. Negative 42 is smaller than negative 40. So the original fraction, negative 7/8, is less than negative 5/6. Problem number 6, 12/19 is what compared to 17/24. Use our cross products. Probably need a calculator here. So 12 times 24 is 288. And 19 times 17 is 323. And 288 is less than 323. So first fraction is smaller than the second. Problem number 8, we have negative 214 fourteenths compared to negative 15 2/3, which if we change to a fraction is 214 fourteenths negative, to negative 3 times 15 is 45 plus 2 is negative 47 thirds. Using cross products, 14 times negative 47 is 658. To be negative 658. Whoops, I did it backwards. Sorry about that. We need to take We need to take 214 times 3 first. If you do it the other way, we're going to get it wrong. So that's 642. It's always this product first. And then 14 times negative 152. Which is 2,128. And negative 642 is greater than negative 2,128. The next set of numbers, problems are supposed to put the numbers in order from the least to greatest. So we have 3/5, 5/7, and 2/9. And it might be easier just to use decimals. This is 0.6. If you remember, when we memorize fractions, this is 0.2 repeating. And 5/7 is 0.7142, etc. It's non-terminating repeating decimal. So we can put that down as 0.7. We just need an estimate. So the smallest is 2/9, then 3/5, and then 5/7. Number 12, we have negative 3.8, negative 35/8, and negative 3. Well, negative 35/8 is the only one we need to change into a decimal, and 8 goes into 35 4 times with 3 left over, so it's 4.375. So the smallest is going to be the negative 35/8, then the negative 3.8, and then the largest is negative 3. Problem 14, we have negative 3/7, negative 5/6, negative 3/5, and negative 7/9. Again, it might be possible just to compare them by looking at them. We know negative 5/6 and negative 7/9 are going to be some of the smallest, where these two are going to be the largest, since they're the smaller fractions without the signs. But we can go ahead and change them. 3 divided by 7 is 0.428. So we'll put that down, at least the first couple of digits. Negative 5/6, if you remember that, is negative 0.83 repeating. Negative 3/5 is negative 0.6. And negative 7/9 is negative 0.7 repeating. So the smallest would have to be the negative 7/9. It's the farthest from 0. Excuse me, wrong again. Being negative 5/6. Then the negative 7/9, the negative 3/5, and the largest number is the negative 3/7. And then 15 through 20, find the number halfway between the given numbers. So 16, I have 7/11 and 3/4. If I get them with the same denominator, which would be 44, this is 28/44, and this is 33/24. The distance between these is 5/44, and half of that would be 5/88, and I would add it to the smallest, 28/44 plus 5/88. Change them so they have the same denominator. It would be 56/88 plus 5/88 gives me 61/88. Remember, another way I said is just to keep going. Once you get the same denominator, if there's an even amount between them, you could just take half and add. This was 5/44. 5 is not an even amount, so you just go to the next denominator. And this is 10. The distance now here is 10/88. So if you took half of that, you would get 5/88, and you could add it to the 56/88. And that would give you 61/88. Either way works. Problem number 18. We have -5/39 and -6/117. We have to find the least common denominator, which would be least common denominator would be 117. And 39 goes in 117 3 times, so that'd be -15. And this would be -6/117. The distance between them is just is not 9. So we would take half of that, which is 9/334, and add it to the smaller amount, which is -15. So they have the same denominator. It'd be -30/334 plus 9/334 gives us -21/334. So if we divide by 7, we get -3 over, excuse me, if we divide by negative, we divide by 3. As 3 goes in, my mistake was when I was multiplying the 117 by 2, it was 234, not 334. So taking half of -9, I found the distance was between them was -9 and 117. So half of that would be -9/234, and we add it to the smallest one, so we make -15/117, and to a fraction with the denominator of 234. So we just double it and add the negative, add 9 to it, and we get -20. negative 21 2/34. And that should be positive because we want the distance. So simplifying, 3 goes into negative 21, negative 7, and 3 goes into 234, 78 times. The other way was to go ahead and keep expanding it until we found an even distance. This was 9, so if we go to 30 over 234, and negative 12 over 234, we get 18, a distance of 18, and then we just add 9 over 234 to the smaller one, and we get the same thing. Problem number 20, we have negative 5 1/5 and 8 2/3. First thing to do is change them into fractions, so this would be negative 26/5, and this would be 3 times 8 is 24, 26/3. And then find the least common denominator, which is 15. 5 goes into 15, 3. 3 times 26 is negative 78. And 3 goes into 15, 5. 5 times 26 would be 130. So we can see the distance between 130 and 78, since they're opposite sides, just add them together, is 208. And take half of that, which is 104, and we can add that to the smaller fraction. So from negative 78 plus 104, we would be at $36.15, which is, oh, that's not correct. Hang on a second. And this would be 26. And if we add 26/15ths, we get 26/15ths, which is 1, and 11/15ths is the exact no. Now going back to the second part of our assignment. Giving the decimal forms for rational numbers or fractions. To change a rational number to decimal, just divide. And you can use your calculator. 3/8 is terminating. If we divide 8 into 3 on the calculator, we get 0.375. And 7/11 is a repeating decimal. Divide 11 into 7. We get 636363. So it'd be 0.63, and we use that repetend sign, that bar. Change a decimal to a fraction, we simply read it. This is 38/100ths. Simplify, 2 goes into 38, 19, and 150. 4.425 is 425 thousandths. Simplify. Quarters in 425, there are 4 per 100. So there are 16, 17, and over 40. And then last part is changing repeating decimals into fractions. We did this last year. If everything is under the repetin. We let x equal 0.45 repeating, and then we make a larger equation by moving the decimal point behind the part that repeats. So that'd be 2 places, that'd be 100x to move it over 2 equals 45.45 repeating. And from that we subtract the smaller equation. And when we do that, it eliminates the repeating part, so I get 99x equals 45. Divide by 99, so our fraction is 45/99, or 5/11. This second example, the bar is over all 3 of them, so x will equal 0.235 repeating. And to get it behind everything that repeats, we'd have to move it 3 places, so that's 1000x equals 235.235 repeating, still the repeating part. From that we subtract the smaller equation, 1x. And when we do, the repeating part goes out, which is what we need. And 1 from 1000 is 999 equals 235. Divide by 999, and we have our fraction, 235/999. The last one, the 3 is not repeating, so if I use 1x, I get 0.34, and I can't subtract. If I try subtracting that from the larger fraction, which I still have to move over 2, would be 100x equals 34.4 repeating. I don't know what to do with the 3. So I'll need to move this just in front of the 4 repeating, which would be 10x. So I use 3.4 repeating. That way the 4's are the only thing after the decimal, and I can cancel them out. And I get 31, and then divide both sides by 90, and I get 31/90. And then the last part of your assignment is on page 515, so turn to that. It's 1 to 25. It says express each rational number as a terminating or repeating decimal. So number 2A, 9/2. You can just use your calculators. Whoops. It's 4.5. And B, 9/200 is 0.045. You should see a pattern developing here. Problem number 4A, -3/5. We know 3/5 is 0.6, so negative would be -0.6. And 3/50, if we follow the pattern from 9/200, should be -0.06, and we can check that. So 3 divided by 50 gives me that. Number 6, 11/12. Use your calculator. Is 0.916 repeating. The calculator rounded it off to 7 because it's not infinite. So that's the correct answer. Number 8, 4/7. The 7's are 6-digit repeating decimals. So it's going to be 57142.8. 57142.8. So 0.57142.8 with a bar over all 6. Number 10, -15/32. So 15 divided by 32 is -0.46875. Problem number 12, 2 and 5/11. We can write that as 2 point whatever 5/11 comes out to be. So 5 divided by 11 is 0.45 repeating. Number 14, negative 6 3/4 is negative 6.75. We know what 3/4 is. And 16, 22/37 is 0.594 repeating. And then 17 through 25, we're changing the decimal into fractions. So number 18, we read that 0.66 is 66 hundredths, which simplifies. 2 goes into 6633, and 2 goes into 150. Problem number 20, 3.8 is 38 tenths, which simplifies to 19 fifths if we divide by 2. 22, 1.15 repeating. Everything after the decimal point's repeating, so we can use 100x, sliding it over 2 to get the bigger equation, equals 115.15 repeating. Subtract from that 1x. So we have 99x equals 115. Divide both sides by 99 and we get 115 over 99. Check for divisibility by 3. 3 goes into 11. 2 times, excuse me. It's not going to work. So our answer is okay, my mistake was I forgot the 1. When it slides over, it's 100. The 1x is 1.15, and I forgot to put that in there, so that makes a difference. So that's 114. And 3 does go in there. 3 goes into 111. 3 times, and 2 left over, and 3 into 24, 8 over 33. Number 24, 2.39 repeating. We can't use 1x because the 3 does not repeat. Which, to get the bigger number, we're still going to use 100x, which is 239.9 repeating. And the smaller number, we're going to use 10x, which will give us 23.9 repeating. So subtracting, we get 90x equals, the repeating part drops out, 216. So x is going to be 216 over 90. Which simplifies down to 3 goes in there 72, 3 goes in there 30. We could divide by 3 again. Actually 6. 6 goes into 72, 12, and into 35. That concludes the evens. Be sure you check the back of the book for the odds.